Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. What is sensorality? Sensorality is spatiality. Spatiality is essentiality. That is, space is essential. What does sensorality stabilize? So we continue on with our derivation. Last time I put up a little short video. Is consistency resistant? And so now we've derived the alphabet as much as possible. Again, there's this 1 and 8 is some sort of numeric limit. 1 to 5 is some sort of numeric limit. But we're getting to this overall stabilizing demonstration of linguistics, establishing a fundamental definition. What is sensorality? What is a sensor? And showing the overall iteration of a sequence of syllability to completion. And so consistency, right? We have the word consistency, makes sense, and the word resistance. But we don't have resistancy and we don't have consistence. And so very clearly, immediately, we see this unique progression of the letter E and the letter A. A comes first in the English alphabet, E comes in the fifth element, the fifth slot, and then resistance is spelled with an A, and consistency is spelled with an E. And so geometrically, the con and the re, again, we can kind of just chop those off because those are prefixes. The S, the first S is again an iteration element. It is what it is, the form of all, again, resolution, just the overall structure. The total proofing is what the resolution is. But consistency and resistance demonstrate this unique progression of the letter E and the letter A. Just right, we have sensorality, sorsenality. So we're getting this kind of overall, again, motivation for this unique iteration. Efficiency is essential, right? Sufficiency is essential. Essentiality suffices, right? If you need the bare bones of something, sufficiency is essential. Sensorality filters identity. Is there resistance to consistency? And so that was the question of how I packaged that up with the overall geometry emphasizing. The only real thing of the analytical process here is highlighting that resistance, right? Is there resistance to consistency? Is showing that overall progression from the resistance, the A, to the consistency, the E. And so just wanted to point that out. And so also geometrically, right, A and E are inverses, we can kind of see that, but it almost looks like a butterfly, or like if you put E then A, the natural flow of the letters, like visually, should look more like the infinity sign. Something else I just wanted to point out explicitly, but again, overall, look at the font on your phone. Look at the font on your screens, and your eyes will naturally start attenuating to the symmetry of the different letters. So again, a trivial proof, but profoundly demonstrable. Your eyes are synchronizing to the geometry of the letters. And if you have anybody out there that is a speed reader or that skims things, again, there's inherent geometric structure to logic. So when people are a fast reader or they're skimming, they're naturally picking up on the geometric structure presented by consistent logic. And so that is a huge demonstrable fact to anybody that's a quick reader, to anybody that's reading. That's what reading is. And you can kind of, again, when you look at a visual art piece, a painting, a portrait, right, the symmetry doesn't stand out to you. It's the things that are different, right? Asymmetry is difference. Back to, again, the direct resolution of the things you see. And so geometrically, the E, then the A, which is the fifth element to the first element, looks more like the natural flow geometrically of the infinity sign. And so we kind of, again, this is more of our motivation in why we have these different spellings, right? Sensorality with a C is completely stabilized, or that's the part we're, again, still conjecturing at this point, to be fair, is the completion part. But again, it's a unique speciality, the finalization. It was a different working definition, but again, the basis, certain elements and certain parts of the proof, you hit the exact same results, abased. Like that will never change for any reduction. And so, but sensorality, the S spelling, sensorality, again, preserves that whole word orality. It's like a different word. So we've packaged up orality and we're pairing it to its natural definition. Sensorality with a C, C-E-N-S-E-R-A-L-I-T-Y, and it's that iteration of the E, just like theme, but it also presents this E to the A. And so the O, again, O to open, but it's just some sort of, we'll just get to the, again, once we get to the overall iteration demonstration, it will just be apparent. But somehow, again, the vowels, the construction, the geometric presentation of the O, logically being open, but for some reason it doesn't complete. And so we have, continuing on, gratefulness is gratitude. Gratitude, attitude. A bad attitude is one without gratitude. And that sounds like a cheesy philosophical saying, but it's a natural definition. Again, gratitude and attitude is the same. You just put another T in there. Attitude, altitude. Sensorality is gratuitality. Gratituality. So this is another meaningless linguistic form where it's just I'm trying to generalize gratitude, and I came up with gratituality. But gratitude generalized, just stuffing letters there, doesn't really matter for now. Sensorality is gratitudality. Put the D back in. That's what she said. Gratitude is humble. Humble. Remember, is what you say when you don't know. Again, language is literal. Consequences are serious. And so logically, everyone's like, yeah, linguistically, literally, right? Sequences are serious. I'm back to, again, what is this differentiation of sequence and series? Is there a meaningful one? Well, it's this uniqueness of iteration. Sequences are serious. Is curiosity serious? Serious is the opposite of joking. Joking is playful. Joking is joyful. Embrace, coming directly from grace, again, trying to show you the order, but the overall linguistic structure preserves all of the contained logic that you need to be a complete proof. Support embraces, sensorality embraces. Sensorality degenerates. Emergency produces degeneracy. Right? Mass is emergent. It can change forms, but you can't destroy it. It's conserved, but the charge is what is conserved. Well, the overall density is conserved, right, mass per unit volume. But it is the stabilized dynamic of charge, as that's what mass is. That's when you have, again, scintillation overall of the electron going down at an energy level, which still, again, energy is not discrete, but that verbiage isn't, like, I went to school, and when I heard energy level, it's one of those things where, in theory, it's wrong, it's directly wrong. Mass is discrete, but energy level, besides someone like me, and even me, if you intuitively say the right thing, you can literally use all of the wrong words. And it doesn't affect anybody at any level of derivation, understanding, learning that I've ever experienced. But regardless, again, emergency, not like the ambulance blaring the sound, but just any emergent property degenerates. But again, that might sound like an immediate paradox, saying, well, mass then would degenerate, it's not conserved. Charge is certainly conserved, mass is conserved. Again, it's this irreducibility aspect of charge per unit volume, or mass per unit volume. Density is definite. Degeneracy is symmetric. So again, all of these things, anything that's symmetric, you don't visually stick out. Degeneracy is symmetric. What is symmetry? Symmetry is not unique. Symmetricality completes. Metrics complete. Matrices complete. Resistance, because again, trying to put a little more insight. Again, we can probably show, we should, but we'll show the explicit, again, iteration of the syllability. And you can kind of put that in matrix forms, but again, it's this it is what it is like the reduction to the identity matrix, which is just a diagonal, again, of ones, right? So we're doing that linguistically. But now continuing our logic, resistance, irresistible. Sensorality is irresistible. I put spelling on there with an able. Again, naturally, I'm still doing that, starting with an A, and then look up the spelling, and it's with an I. Desire is irresistibility. sensorality is irresistibility. And so now fundamentally physically, right, that's where you get superconductor, right? That's not a very fundamental linguistic construction. It's the mega theorems, the super theorems, the triple dark quasar energy, right? Sensorality is irresistibility. Superconduction is irresistibility. There's no resistance to conduction at room temperature or at whatever temperature, pressure, energy, time scales, whatever. So revisiting, again, at this point makes sense to look at an equation. Oh, yuck, equations. But relating the concepts of resistance, voltage, and current, right? Ohm's law. Resistance is voltage divided by current. Voltage immediately is potential. Current is flow, right? Electricity. Electricality is the fundamental physical word. Because electricity is moving electrons. Electrons flow. Electricity is flowing electrons. Currents flow. And so, right, what facilitates current? Right, what facilitates rhythmic motion? Well, rhythmic motion produces current. And then we're right back to the immediate engineering fact and historical progression of alternating current versus direct current. To transfer energy efficiently, you have alternating current for your big transformers. You scale up the energy or whatever. Don't know the exact engineering terms right off the top of my head, but then your direct current comes out of the wall because it's more pairing to your small devices. But the reason you go to alternating current to transmit electricity large distances is because rhythmic motion is most efficient. And so that alternation is rhythmatic. But irresistibility is the correct ontological representation of what's called superconduction. Zero resistance is irresistible. Sensorality, desires, current is flow, voltage is potential. Does memory flow? Is memory static? Nope, everything's dynamic. Any of the questions are rhetorical, Woodcock. We're just building and developing our linguistics to it directly. What is the theme of mathematics, right? The mathematics is theme. Language is consistent. We're reducing logic, sensorality, to a place where we just have the direct syllability and it answers itself and it shows the direct iteration. My rights continue to be violated. It is profoundly and extensively illegal. It's profoundly and extensively inhumane. It is disgusting. And yeah, no one gives a shit. The world is a total effing joke. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.